And over the past 10 years, my songwriting has really evolved, and I feel more confident as a writer now. So now I think I'm more able to actually get my thoughts down on paper, whereas before I had to like write this line because it rhymed. I couldn't think of a way to make it rhyme with what I really wanted to say. And yeah, so now I'm way more precise in what I want to do.
Awesome. You know, that makes sense, and I think that translates in what you're performing as well. Yeah, you mentioned the MGP Melodi Grand Prix. Can you go a little bit more in depth into that? My understanding is that it's a Eurovision selection event. Can you kind of explain how you came to do that, and kind of for people who maybe aren't familiar with Eurovision, like what that is? And
yeah, so Eurovision is a competition between most European countries who want to enter.
Mhm.
Basically, each country sends one song to a huge show in May, hosted by the winner of last year. So this year it's going to be in Austria because Austria won, or 2026 is going to be in Austria because Austria won in 2025. And a lot of these countries, including Norway, where I'm from, and Sweden and Denmark, they have their own TV shows where a lot of artists from that country can compete in becoming that one song that goes to represent their country to Eurovision. So I entered the Norwegian selection twice. I did not win, but I still had a great time. And yeah, I wasn't going to enter as an artist, but I participated on one of these songwriting camps as a writer. And then we wrote a song called Death of Us, and we couldn't find an artist for it. And eventually I just said yes to do it myself.
That's cool. Yeah, so for you're saying for Eurovision, it's one artist representing each country, right?
Yes.
So you didn't get it to that point, but you were in the like range of selecting that person for Eurovision. That's what so you were up against other Norwegians essentially.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool.
It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we don't really have anything similar to that in the US, but that makes sense. And that's really cool to take advantage of all these countries being close by and all that.
I think actually you guys did have something like that. I'm not sure if you did it this year, but a few years ago you tried out something where all the states would compete against each other, but I'm not sure if it actually
No, you're right. My old band, actually, we did an interview for that. I remember that. And yeah, I never saw, I think it kind of tanked was my understanding. I never saw anything, but they did attempt to do that. I don't know if it was somebody from Eurovision, but they did have, I remember the guy we spoke to was somebody who kind of ran those type of things. So you're right, they did try that, but I think it's just not the same element as like the countries. Obviously, states, there's some pride, but it's, you know, there's 50 states. It's easy to get caught up in that. It doesn't have the same weight, I think, as what Eurovision does. Yeah, going back to just your catalog, I was like listening to your music, and I came across What a Waste. I swear I've heard it before. I really love it. I don't know, was it big on TikTok or on a commercial or something? I just really like super recognized it, and I don't know, I just love the song. I thought it was really cool, and I want to hear more about that.
Thank you. I'm not sure it did anything big, but it was on a big playlist for like a week back when it was released. So maybe you heard it from there. I don't know. But yeah, I wrote that one in Berlin with a guy called Martin Paul. Yeah, very effortless session. I think it was the first session we ever had. And I just had this idea on my phone again, like what a waste of us. Yeah, it just kind of fell out of my brain and onto the paper.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned a couple collaborators. Do you have like a set of people that you typically work with, or are you connected through other people, or how does that always come about?
Oh, many different ways. I do have a publisher. I do have a manager. So sometimes when I'm traveling, I will tell them where I'm going and if they could set me in some sessions. I tend to go back and work more with the people that I like, but I also try to stay open and meet new people.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. So you're from Norway, as we mentioned a little bit, based in Berlin. But you want to broaden into more of a global audience, and I think you said that the U.S. is an area you especially want to grow in. What listening to your music, I can't really identify that you're from Norway or Europe or anything like that. It sounds very universal. And I was just curious, are you being intentional in having an sort of accessible sound, or is it just that that's the type of music that you just comes to you when you try to create and it just comes naturally to you?
I think it comes naturally. And probably one of the reasons why it doesn't sound like super Scandinavian is because there aren't a lot of Scandinavians involved necessarily. It might just be down to me.
Yeah.
Like Len is German, and the guys that I mentioned before, they're British, and I think one of them is from one of the Caribbean islands or something, which is kind of cool. Caribbean.
Yeah. I think either one. It doesn't have a specific.
But yeah, I just try to write what I like. Try to write what I would listen to. I think in the beginning when I was starting an artist project, I was very like, not insecure, but like wondering is this a good song? What do other people think? And now I feel like I found that sweet spot where I've made something that I like, so I don't really care if other people like it because I think it's good, and I think that's the place to be in.
Yeah, and I think that's the hardest place for a lot of artists to get to, because they're trying to like make a sound that they think is going to gain an audience, but ultimately if you're not making something true to yourself, the audience won't resonate with it.
Yeah. So when my manager is giving me feedback now and he's like, what about, and I think to myself, I don't care. That's a good place.
Totally. It's awesome. Kind of going off of that, since Norwegian is your first language, is writing your music in English an intentional decision then, or is that also just the music you make feels like it lends itself better to being done in English versus Norwegian?
I started out writing in English because of the Elsa Emilie project.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she was doing, so that's what made sense.
Okay.
And I don't think I've ever found my voice in my native language. I've never tried to write for myself in that language. I don't listen to a lot of music in Norwegian. So I think now at this point, I'm just way better at writing in English, and therefore it comes naturally.
Yeah. No, I remember you had said that it's a big thing in Norway that a lot of people are doing songs in Norwegian. I thought that was interesting because I thought that it seems like, I mean, English is kind of has been this like lingua franca of the world for a while, where it's the language that everyone tries to learn to communicate. So I find that really interesting. But yeah, I mean that makes sense. But that's just so odd to me though, that you never made music in Norwegian. You never written lyrics in Norwegian. It's just the English is your writing form basically.
Yeah, I mean, I have written in Norwegian for other artists a couple of times, but I don't really, probably because I'm not good at it, because I haven't done it a lot of times, I don't like it as much.
Yeah. And I assume it's just it's a completely different thing, because like something that would rhyme or flow well in English, it's a completely different word, so it's not even going to have the same. You have to think in a different brain.
Exactly. So you would think that I'd probably be better at it because it's my native language and I speak it better. But to think in a songwriting way where you have to consider rhymes when you haven't done that before, like, do I even know what rhymes in Norwegian, or like could possibly rhyme if I have no clue.
Yeah, no, that's just very fascinating to me, because I only know one language very well, so to be able to do that is very interesting and very impressive. Another thing I noticed on your Spotify bio, I believe you labeled yourself as denim pop. Is that something you made up, or is that something I'm just not aware of? Is that pre-existing?
I made it up. I thought that I should only wear denim. Didn't do that today. For maybe live shows and stuff, and just yeah, I made it up. It's my thing now.
Okay, cool. What? Yeah, I can hear that, because it's sort of alluding to a blend between kind of pop and sort of, there's a little bit of an alternative sound to your stuff, so I can see that kind of being a crossover there.
Yeah, but I think also with denim, it's like very down to earth, very not average, but just like everybody has it, everybody knows it. It's like nothing grandiose in a way.
Yeah. No, that I didn't even think of that interpretation, but that makes a whole lot of sense as well. So, can you tell me a little bit about a situation that maybe things didn't go as planned? I mean, it might be the breakup of Emily and Elsie, but just a time that you maybe had to overcome adversity to kind of get to a place where you are now.
Financially, I'm doing not so well these days.
Yeah.
We haven't overcome that yet, but hopefully listen to my song. Yeah, no, I think after Elsa and Emilia, like when we split up, I knew that I wanted to continue music, but I sort of felt like I had to start from scratch. I had no clue who I was musically, and so I sort of just got into writing for other people, a place where I also had to start from scratch. Got into dance music a little bit, and it took me a few years to sort of get into the business for real again, because we had been very lucky and been riding a wave where we got signed to Sony super early. We did festivals, we toured, did TV shows right away, and then I had to sort of go all the way back to the start and find new team members, and yeah, but it was a good journey still.
That's yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, no, I'd seen some of your TikToks kind of touching on the kind of disparities between payouts. And I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit more because that is interesting. So have you been a part of songs that have taken off and then for whatever reason you didn't get the publishing or something like that? Has that been a challenge you've been having to deal with?
I think the music industry in general is very chaotic. So I think for everyone, this sort of happens every now and then, and you don't even know about it. Like the other day, I just realized that a song that I have on a Korean TV show, I haven't been making any money from because the registrations were done correctly. So we're trying to fix that. I have friends going through this all the time. Um, and then sometimes it's just like you're in business with fishy people and they don't pay you. They forget to pay you. They send you the wrong details. They don't have an email anymore. Yeah, you know.
Wow. So so you do have syncs though, then it sounds like you've had your songs played on other TV shows and commercials and whatnot.
Yeah, a little bit. That's
No.
not my main thing, but it happens every now and then, which is very fun.
You know, this is a good conversation because yeah, I mean publishing is something that Stream is trying to add to kind of bridge this gap because there is a lot of confusion I think in that space. And I know I'm sure you don't obviously work with BMI, CSAC, ASCAP because those are American ones, but I think there is a lot of not education for artists in terms of like doing that process because I speak with a lot of artists who don't even know that that's a thing to register your song. They just are aware of the mechanical royalties and the streams. So yeah, I think that's a very good point that yeah, I mean if you don't go through these processes you risk losing out on a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also, unfortunately, musicians, we are into the music and not so much into the admin. So it's
Exactly.
very easy to sort of just not look at that and just trust your team to be um, taking care of that for you. But yeah, I think it's always smart to sort of go through everything and check that it looks on paper like it is supposed to.
Yeah, no, speaking of that, do you what's your kind of feeling on having to take on maybe not the admin roles, but having to be your own marketer promoter? Because that's a lot of how independent artists have to start out. They have to, make a lot of content and stuff like that. And I see you doing that. Do you enjoy doing that process? Is it taxing at all? Do you wish that there was another way? Would you rather be all art, or do you find some joy in making those videos as well?
I think once the videos are performing, then it's fun. But
Yeah.
that whole grinding when it's not performing, trying to shift the algorithm a little bit, that's a tough one. I definitely have been questioning whether I should just be a songwriter for other people so that I don't have to spend so much time on content creation. Like I don't even like to do my makeup, and I feel
Mm.
like even that is like, okay, I have to do my makeup and then I have to film this, then I have to find an angle and a caption and but it is part of the job. And I think once, like every time I get into it, it's much easier than when I've had a break for a long time. It's kind of like going to the gym. If you've
Mhm.
done it 5 times this week already, the sixth time it's nothing. But if you haven't gone for 6 weeks, then
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's a really good comparison. Kind of going off of that, what do you think in terms of going into the streaming world? What would be a message? I'm just reading from some of our own notes we had for you. If you could leave a message for artists just entering the streaming world who feel like they're shouting into the void, what would you tell them? So that's kind of related to what we're saying, kind of like, what would you tell an artist that's doing that and they're not getting any progress? Like, is that a sign to give up, or is there a sign that there's still something on the other side of that if you keep on pursuing it?
I think it's important to remember that even if you get 100 views or 200 views on a TikTok, even though you want like 2 million, 200 is way more than 0.
Yeah.
And so everything helps. And it's tough to sort of see that when you're in it and you wish that you had more views, but it's not a failure if you don't have 1 million views right away. The only failure is if you don't do anything.
Totally. You know, I agree with that. I think that's pretty much what I have for you. Do you have anything else you want to say about the new song?
Go check it out. It's a banger. And come get me if you don't agree.
It is a banger. Yeah, I agree. It's awesome.
Thank you. I like
Great.
it.